Okay. Hi, Martin and Rachel. It's really great to have you on our lockdown stories.
Hi, Natalie.
Hi, Natalie. Hi.
Hi. Could you tell
Hi.
a little bit about who you are and what you are a part of at St Mark's?
Yeah, you first. Okay. Well, I'm Martin, and we've been around for about 7 years in St Mark's, and for most of that time we've been involved in leading worship. That's been our main kind of activity at St Mark's.
We tend to go to the gathering service on Sunday evenings, and we're kind of part of that.
Yeah.
So you've been leading worship there and stuff. So.
Yeah.
You're very active involved. So officially, question 1: how did you both or separately come to know Jesus and have a faith?
It was definitely separate.
It was definitely separate.
Go on, you go first.
For me, I really love the way that you posed that question about how did you get to know Jesus. I just thought it was a really lovely way of expressing it. I think for me, my family just cultivated an environment where Jesus could be real and I could get to know him really easily. I suppose that question's probably a bit like, how did you get to know your mum? How did you get to know your dad? He lived with us in our home, and he was a very real member of the family. He was talked about, we told stories about, we prayed about everything. He was just part of my life growing up, and I think I went to a children's camp when I was 7, and there I decided that I wanted to follow Jesus, and I wrote a postcard to my grandma. And when they sorted out her house, after she passed away, my mum found the postcard that I'd written, saying, "Hi Grandma, hope you're having a lovely time. By the way, I gave my life to Jesus today." Wow. So yeah, he's always been part of my life, and my journey through life has just been traveling with him.
Yeah.
Okay. It's quite different to you, though.
Yes, quite different. I grew up in a family where my parents, and I guess the generation above them, there were a few of them that used to go to chapel. They were Methodists, and I grew up in a home where we didn't go to church, didn't really. My parents, I don't think they would have said they were Christians. My dad certainly wouldn't. And as I was growing up through sort of teenage years, I had some questions. And the questions came from a sense of wanting to know why we're here, and where do we come from, and that kind of thing. And partly it was because I was quite anxious about things. I was quite afraid. I was afraid of things that could go wrong in the world, like coronavirus. But actually, at the time, it was a bit of fear of things like there might be a nuclear war, and I was quite afraid of that. And I was wondering what it's all about. So I began to ask God some questions, or think about some questions. The 2 questions that I needed to be answered were: number 1, is God there? And number 2, if there is a God, what is God like? And so I just had those questions, and it took. I could go into a big, long, detailed story, which is really helpful in a way, because it really brings it home. But I won't. But eventually, through many interactions with many people, and through taking somebody's advice, which was, well, don't ask about God, ask God. So I began to have a conversation with God, and I began to realize that, yes, he was there, because some miracles happened that I couldn't explain away. And then I began to find out what he was like. And one of the events in that was that somebody said, "Why don't you read John's Gospel?" So I got, in fact, it's here. So I got this, it was, there won't be many of our viewers who will remember the Blue Peter Bring and Buy sale. There's a Blue Peter Bring and Buy sale in the Horsforth where I was growing up. And I found this Bible, it was in the Oxfam shop, King James Bible, and I bought it. And I didn't ever read it until somebody said, read John's Gospel. So I read it in this, which is really, really difficult to read. But when I read it, something really touched me about what Jesus was like.
Mm.
And from then on, it's been a journey of trying to find out what God is like. And at every step of the way, I can't argue that he's anything else but utterly self-giving and utterly loving and utterly caring. So, and I've tried to disprove it, but I've never been able to. And I defy anyone to do the same.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's so wonderful. Both those stories, I guess, reach a point where they're just about a relationship.
Yeah.
And yours, Rachel, just that sense of him being there. And then Martin, yours, you removed that about part of the question and it became him. And that's
that's it. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Wow. Amazing. Number 2, during a bit more current now, during this difficult time, how are you finding joy in your lives?
You understand?
Yeah. Well, do you know, I am really, really happy that all 5 of us are here at home together. And we thought at the beginning of this time, we thought, oh no, everybody's going to get really on everybody else's nerves, and it's going to be really awkward, and we're going to be sharing all the space, and they're going to make all the children are going to make a massive mess. You know, it's going to be a nightmare. Anyway, it's been fantastic.
Yes.
And everybody's getting on really, really well. And I guess because they're all growing up a bit now, where it's a bit like having a group of friends.
Yeah.
It's exactly like Friends, the television program.
That sounds a good place to hang out.
Except there are 5 of us. How many of them were? There were 6 of them.
Oh, do you have a pet? Do you have any pets?
Yeah, we've got a moody cat.
There you go, number 6.
We've got Lily.
Who
6, yeah.
Rachel loves Lily, Kitty. We keep calling the cat Kitty. Rachel loves Lily.
Lily loves Rachel.
Lily loves Rachel. Yeah. But she's just mean to everybody else. Yeah. Anyway, she might get to heaven because I think animals might get to heaven. So, well, no, none of us will, of course. She'll be in the new heavens and the new earth with us.
Yeah.
Anyway, where's your joke coming from?
Obviously, Martin's sense of humour and having the boys around.
Never words thin.
I think a few things. I'm listening to some really good podcasts. I found some really interesting ones, talking about Christian ones, talking about theology, and my other pet love, which is psychology. So some joint ones about theology and psychology, which has been fantastic. Chocolate, great source of joy.
80%, that's rich.
85%, nearly all gone.
Yeah, it's not 85% left.
And also, I've just found this book.
Oh.
It's called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse by Charlie Mackesy. And if I just have to, it just melts your heart. So this is one of my favourite pages. I don't know if you can see. It just says, what do you want to be when you grow up? And kind, says the boy. And then next page, what do you think success is? To love, said the mole. And there's one more page, which I've just lost, but I'll show you very quickly. This is very much to do with my kind of mindfulness and everything. And it says, I've learned how to be in the present. How? Asked the boy. To find a quiet spot, shut my eyes and breathe. That's good. And then I focus. What do you focus on? Cake, says the mole. For me, it would be chocolate, obviously. But it's just a really lovely book. Really, really heartwarming book. So that's brought me lots of joy.
That's really good. That's really good. Charlie Mackesy, I think, has done a few talks through HTB.
Yeah.
And he's a really great speaker, I think. But his
Yeah.
illustrations speak more words, don't they?
They're just such a lovely combination. You make you cry. They make you laugh. They just melt your heart. They're just fantastic.
Great. And finally, question 3. What is the first thing that you will both do when lockdown is lifted and we're able to do things a bit differently?
Okay, well,
do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go on. I bet it might be the same as mine.
It might be the same.
Yeah.
We celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary during lockdown. Martin made an absolutely fantastic Italian meal for us, which is lovely. We were supposed to be in Florence for our wedding anniversary, so but I think probably the first thing that I will do when lockdown's finished is just get together with extended family and really precious friends and just celebrate life and celebrate love and celebrate friendship and being together.
Well, not quite the same. I mean, well, I will do that. I'll happily join in with that. But I think I want to take you out for a really nice meal to celebrate our 25th wedding anniversary.
Yeah, definitely. Take the kids for a cheeky Nando's, I think, as well.
Yeah. Maybe you need your own meal and then you need the Nando's.
Yeah, I think we're owed. Yeah.
That's brilliant. Thank you for your time. You've given me lots of joy this evening. No, sorry, whatever day it is right now, because we're pretending it's the actual day. So
yes, it's Tuesday. Is it Tuesday?
Yeah.
It's about lunchtime.
Doesn't matter. All the days just merge.
Thank you both so much.
Thank you for asking us.
Okay, thanks, Natalie.
Take care.
Have a rest of the evening.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.